Hello and welcome to today's show. Thank you for joining me and being a part of the show today. I've got some guests lined up. It's going to chat about Cambridge music and all kinds of things. And today, fingers crossed, I haven't got two guests. I got three. So that's all to come in the show. But I don't know if you remember last week I was saying about going to the big weekend. Well, I've got it here somewhere. I managed with my crazy dress sense and style. Actually, I got a better picture on here. I'll show you. With my crazy dress sense and style, I managed to make the local papers, and not a small article neither. Well, picture, I mean, quite a big picture. So there you go with that. And we've already got a message come through from Jamie Stocker saying, evening, Jamie. Thanks for joining us on the show today. And please do keep your comments coming. And you can do that by, if I can find it, if you'd like to make a comment, you have to go to the main Cambridge Historian page. I'm on Facebook. So search the Cambridge Historian. Look it up. And below this video, why it's live, why it's going out live, make a comment or ask a question to one of our guests. But it must be on the main Cambridge Historian page, because otherwise, if it's on any other pages or outlets that we are broadcasting on, none of us will be able to see it. So yeah, just remember that. So go to there. So here we go. So I want to bring up my first guest, and his name is Stephen Scott. He's going to talk a bit about photography in Cambridge, because he goes around taking photos of the area. So I'm going to bring him up and he's going to chat a little bit about that. Hello, Stephen.
Hello, Fons. Hello, listeners.
Viewers. We've got viewers.
Oh, cool. Sorry.
Yeah.
Got that.
Yeah. So, but they can see you worldwide. You're seen all over the world.
So you'll see the Cambridge City shirts in the background.
Yep. So you're promoting a bit of Cambridge. Oh, hold on a minute. We've just got a message from Mick Brown saying, watch your Fons. So thanks, Mick. Okay, yeah, you do photos around Cambridge. Can you tell us a little about some of your photos? You've actually sent me some, which I'll put up as well.
Yeah, amongst my many interests is photography. I love going around photographing our beautiful county, and Cambridge and everything. And in fact, I'm the person who suggested that, unlike other counties, we have a special Cambridgeshire Day.
Yeah,
so I'm behind that campaign.
Yeah, and you there's some wonderful photos that you've taken over the years, because me and you have worked on projects, haven't we, together as well, taking photos. But it's a brilliant record, because this is an angle of history people don't look at. This is recording today for future generations.
Yeah, I bet I'd describe it as today's news is tomorrow's history.
Exactly. And I want to put some of the pictures up that you've, here we go, hold on. And you can explain a little bit about them. So I'll start with this one. So here we go here.
Yeah, that was just a picture. I'm trying to think. I think that was on one of the colleges or the churches. Just goes to coat of arms of the city of Cambridge. No, I've beaten myself. It's in the Fitz. What was the Fitzwilliam Museum? Folk Museum.
Right. Oh, the Folk Museum down Castle Street, yeah.
Street. Which is a wonderful place to go around.
Oh, it is, yeah. Very. Well, it's basically all the Cambridge history stuff all stored in one place, really, isn't it, for people to view?
And you see, it was originally an old coaching inn.
That's right. Yeah, the coach and horses. Okay, here's another picture. What can you tell us about this one?
Yes, I particularly love water scenes, and you're getting the reflections off the water. And this one was taken down in Newnham. Of course, it shows somebody ponting. You've got the reflections. And what's good about pictures like this, as I tell people, a photograph is just basically a plain piece of paper. And to make a decent photograph, you've got to take depth to it. And
Yeah.
water seems an easy way of doing it.
Oh, definitely. Okay, we're carrying on with some more because you sent a few here. Here we go. Here's another one.
That's another one in the Newnham area. Again, it shows the water scene with the bridge. I think that's the bridge that goes down from Newnham Road up to Trumpington Road. And again, you've got the reflection of the bridge in the water.
Yeah. We've got a message through from Katie Cole. Nice evening for a punt. I think she's referring to your punting picture. And here's another one. This one I like. This is a really cool photo. I like this one.
Yeah, that's at St Ives. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm involved in this campaign to get a Cambridgeshire Day up and running. And it's a matter of one thing we've got to try to come up with a appropriate day, whether it is a date connected with Oliver Cromwell. Another suggestion somebody came up with Herald of the Wake.
Yeah. So what we do is once we've gone through these photos, we give a shout out to people who could probably be interested in taking part in that. Here's another one I like. This one here. I think it's also on your profile on Facebook, I do believe.
Yeah. We in the last 12 months, I've moved out of Cambridge to Burwell, and this was a lovely picture I took at the Burwell parade the other week. And what makes it a picture is the fact that you've got the car in the front ground.
Yeah.
It gives you the depth with the castle.
Yeah. No, I can totally see what you're saying. Yeah, but there it's giving it basically the layers, isn't it? The car there, then the castle behind, the people in the middle. I totally get you.
And yes, without either, the picture wouldn't be anything at all. And it makes you stand there and think you're actually there at the time the picture's taken.
Well, how long ago was that taken?
That must have been only a fortnight, 3 weeks ago.
So that's quite recent. And we've got a message from Alf Curtis saying hello. He does photos as well, doesn't he? Along, and he takes some wonderful photos as well. I'll have to get you on if you're interested, Alf, to talk about your collections of Cambridge. And we've also got Holly Burden who's saying hi, Holly. And here we go. We're going to carry on with your photos. Look, one more, I think there is, isn't there? And this is it.
Yeah, that's the plaque of a sad occasion many moons ago at Burwell, where the group of adults and children were killed in a barn, which when there was a puppet show going on, and I think that was 17 something other.
Yeah. So with your photos, what would you say your plan for a Cambridgeshire Day?
Yeah, it's one of those things. Cambridgeshire, I'm Cambridge born and bred. Cambridge is such a wonderful county. There's so many things that we should be proud of. And a lot of the counties around us have their own special days to commemorate the county, fly the flag, sing the praises of the county. About time we did as well.
Yeah. So are you looking for people to be involved in this? Yeah.
At the moment, between me and one or two other people, we're trying to put pressure on the Mayor of Cambridge to get behind it.
So if anybody wants to get involved, how to contact you?
They can either contact me, or it'd be nice if people emailed the Mayor and said it'd be a good idea. And our local radio station, the morning show presenter, is very much behind it as well, and she's pushing it as well.
Yeah. Brilliant. That'd be good to tell you what you mean. Celebrate Cambridgeshire. No, so hopefully we'll give people a reminder a little bit later on in the show. But stay with us. I'm going to bring up one of my other guests. So you hold on now. We'll chat to you in a little while. So I'll leave you in the background for a little while and enjoy the show while I chat away. Okay, come back to Stephen very shortly, and I'm just going to bring up Terry. Terry's already been on the show before, so he knows exactly what's going on, don't you, Terry?
Well, as much as I know what's going on most of the time, anyhow. Yeah, I do. With you, Fons, I live in a world like that, so No, how are you? All right?
Yeah, not too bad.
Oh,
Well, up and down. I've had a bit of a rough week. This weather's affected my hay fever, everything. So,
no, it's horrible, isn't it? It really is nasty.
Yeah.
So, we moan when it's snowing. We moan when it's like 30 degrees. But that's life.
But we can never get it in the middle, though, can we?
No, not for any length of time.
No, not how we want it. Okay, I'm going to chat to you. The coughing's come back now. I've been talking about it. It's always the way. No, about music you're growing up with. I've actually got another guest as well. Actually, he's worked on radio, and I'll bring him up. We can chat about that. Actually, here we go. It's David. So hi, David.
Hello, Fons. Thank you for having me on, and hello, Terry.
Hello, David.
Yeah. So, tell us a little bit about your background, David. So it gives a bit of an idea of radio.
Yeah. Well, I did my first radio show in 1975. So that's a long time ago, isn't it?
When was yours? When was yours, Terry? First one.
Mine was around about 8 years ago.
Oh wow, a youngster.
I've done hundreds of them since then. I mean, I do 4 or 5 a week, which makes life interesting.
Oh, so you rapidly are in the position to overtake me because I do 1 a week. So
I think I worked it out the other week. I'm touching 1,000+ shows. So
wow, that is awesome.
Yeah, it's I did last week. I did 1, 2. I did about 6 last week.
Wow.
It keeps me busy, and I travel between as well, which makes life even more interesting. So
yeah, how did you
come?
So I was just going to say, how did you come to join the radio fold, Terry? How did you get?
Well, it's interesting. I was a guest on a certain station around about 8 or 9 years ago. Went up to because I have a business as well. I'm sort of I've got a magazine called The Sticks, and I went there to sort of talk about the Sticks and the guests I have, who I interview in the Sticks. And the gentleman said to me, "I'd love you to do a show for us." And that was originally it was going to be once a month. Well, we went to record it with Hazel O'Connor. And he said to me, "This is too good to do once a month. Can you do it once a week?" So I do a chat show once a week. I do 2 Motown shows across England and across they're basically broadcast across the world. And I do other shows as well. I did an album show last week. I did a general sort of 2-hour show last week as well. So very busy. 3 of them were in Norfolk last week, and 2 of them were in Hertfordshire. So. Quite a busy time.
You definitely keep busy. I was going to say he's got a brilliant voice, isn't he, David, for radio?
Oh, absolutely magic. Yeah, as have you.
Oh, thanks.
I just
But anyway, you've worked on the BBC, haven't you, David? And actually, you founded if I'm right, a radio station in Cambridge.
That's right. The radio station is currently called Cam FM, and I founded it back in 1979.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because it's changed. It's changed names since, hasn't it?
Yes, that's right. It's Cam FM now. When I started, it was called Cambridge University Radio, and it was in a basement.
Yeah.
Now they come out of the basement.
I think it was right down. I forget. Was it Churchill College? It was that, wasn't it?
It was at Churchill for many years.
Yeah, I remember going down. there, and and it was right down on some stairs under a basement. Yeah.
It looked like a coal cellar, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It was very, very, very enclosed. But
yeah.
But carrying on. So how has it progressed, the station? Because it's come more public, really, isn't it?
Absolutely so. Because when we started, actually, we were on medium wave. We had a little tiny transmitter that had a range of about 1 meter or something, and it was lots of looped aerials all over the place and this kind of thing. And in those days you could play music on medium wave and get away with it, but nowadays you can't really, can you? So the station's moved to FM, and we've got a big aerial at the top of the university library in Cambridge, big iconic building.
Yeah. So where's the studio situated now in Cambridge?
We've got 2. One of them is at Anglia Ruskin University, and the other one is at Fitzwilliam College.
Brilliant. What do you think of that, Terry? University radio, because it was just for the university, and it's come quite big with the public.
I think good. There was the old song "Video Killed the Radio Star." I think it's gone the other way. I think radio has become more and more successful, and I think broadcasting has become more accessible for everybody. I mean, I know over in Luton, in Dunstable, they have a university radio station. I know lots of other places have radio stations. You just do it, from the back room of your house, basically, can't you?
Yeah. I think nowadays anybody can set up a radio.
Yeah.
But there's radio and there's radio. Unfortunately, you get some people that are not great at it. But you soon fish out what's good and what's not good.
I think that's with everything, isn't it? Same with the TV. I mean, I'm not going to name names, but I was driving around a few months ago and put the radio onto scan, and I picked up this radio station. It was an FM station, and dearie me, it was like Alan Partridge. It really was appalling. In fact, it made Alan Partridge look good. It was so bad. It was almost cheesy, and I thought, well, I was just about to get out the car. I was only listened to it about 15 minutes. And in the 15 minutes, they spoke a lot of. It was during the World Cup, and they spoke a lot of rubbish. Didn't play any music. Spoke absolute gibberish.
Yeah. Their own voice.
Yeah, and the weird thing about it was that they were both in the same room, in the same studio, but they sounded like one was on the phone. It sounded like the host was on the phone. It sounded.
And this was FM.
This was FM. Oh yeah, it's a shocking radio station. I'm not going to name it because I don't fancy being. Getting into trouble, but it's got to be the worst experience. It makes hospital radio look good. I mean, as I sort of explained, I fell into radio, and I'm never that happy about the shows I do. Then I'm never 100% happy, and I've done loads of them, and I don't think I'm particularly good at it, but other people seem to think so. So let's go with it. If other people like it, I'm more than happy to carry on doing it.
That's what it's about, as the people. Do you find that, David, when you're making a show, that you think you're not happy with it, or do you feel quite pleased with the end product?
Oh, I think you always want to improve, because the day you sit back on your laurels and think that was a good, and then next week's one is going to be worse, isn't it? So I think it's always a question of trying to be better than the last one.
No, that totally makes sense.
Yeah, I do a lot of interviews, as I think Fons, with sort of like people, and some of them are better than others, as you probably found out. Some people are quite happy to talk, and other people it's no, yes, no, yes, and you think,
Well, I get that a lot, and talking to people in history, they've got wonderful stories. What I find is they chat away to you, but when you start wanting to record them, no, okay, I think so, and that can be really frustrating. So, as a presenter, do you guys find that frustrating?
Yeah,
there's a trick, isn't there, to not saying too much in the warm-up questions. So I say to them something like, what was the weather like today? What did you have for breakfast?
Yeah.
And then when we come live on the air, I can ask the question, because if you ask the question twice, either they're going to dry up, or they're going to say, as I told you 5 minutes ago, da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I often preempt them about the music they like, and because what I do, I think Fons knows, I have musicians on and things like that. So I play a track before the interview and a track after the interview. So I always say to them, I've got these 6 tracks. Which would you like me to play? Because I'm going to ask you about them. So that and we never rehearse. I've done probably 2,000 interviews. I've never ever rehearsed one in my life. I had somebody ask me. She was a psychic. Asked me. She wanted to come on the show. Her agent asked me. She
must have known she was coming on the show.
Well, she didn't know. Yeah, but the best thing is, then she asked me if she could see the questions beforehand.
So you should know them.
That's what I said.
You know them.
I'll tell you, if you know she was good, you know if she was good if she give you the answers before you asked them.
Yeah, well, she couldn't look in a crystal ball, I'm afraid, and it was just she's one of these psychics that tours the theatres, and does anybody know a Mr. Smith? And all this business, and I find it hard to take. I must admit, I don't normally comment on the guest. If it's a folk singer or whether it's a famous musician, I don't sort of put my personal preferences. But this was just, and her agent, he said, "Oh, she'd love to come on your show." Yeah. She won't do a live reading, and also she wants to see the questions beforehand. Well, I've never ever shown anybody, whether it be a big international guest like somebody like the Osmonds, or whether it be a local band, they never ever see the questions beforehand. And there's a reason for that, because half the time I have no idea what I'm going to ask them. I've got their CV, I've got a list of questions and bits and bobs and a few notes, and we wing it and we go a bit like you probably are doing now, actually.
Yes, I mean, I'm connecting things to I don't write questions down. I did that on my very first show of this, because this was completely new, and none of the questions I got to ask. So it's better to go with it with an idea in your head, what you want, where you want it to go, and then build on that.
It's like a conversation with friends sitting around the table, isn't it, and having a nap.
That's it.
Exactly.
You won't go down to the cafe with your friends with a list of scripted questions. You just have a chat.
Oh no, you don't. You don't sit and go, "Here's your coffee now." Question 1.
Yeah, it's like having an interview, like having a job interview. I mean, how I it's been described. I do my shows is like two mates in the pub.
Yeah,
that's
the best. That's the best
I
way.
think that works so well.
Yeah, well, it's relaxing, isn't it? And you're not pressurised to fit everything in. But no. I do want to go back to David, and because we've got to talk about Cambridge, because this show is about Cambridge. But it's good to get all the mixture in. The early days of Cam FM, what was that like to how it is now?
It was very kind of pioneering, really, because all we got is the keys to this coal cellar, and it was a sort of a completely empty room with sort of brick walls and whitewashed and da-da-da. We had to put in all the equipment. We had to do some soundproofing, which wouldn't have met today's health and safety things, because what we did is we got one of the guys, his dad was a farmer or something, and he got a load of egg boxes, which we stuck on the wall with glue, and then we hung drapes in front of them. So it was a quite extraordinary looking setup. But when you got in there, it was sort of almost anechoic, so you could clap your hands and the sound wouldn't resonate. And then we had a pile of LPs that we got from record companies and this kind of thing. I do miss the old technology of radio. I like lining up the records and queuing them up and putting the stylus on and all that kind of thing. I think that was terrific fun. And the mixing desks where you had to kind of.
What did you do? The thing is, looking back at radio then, like you were saying, using vinyl records. Vinyl's brilliant. I still do vinyl show. Actually, funny, Terry tell you his show's before mine on a Sunday, so he's before me and I'm straight on after him. So on the station. But how did you cope with suddenly it's jumping like it?
The jumping discs. I'll tell you what we actually used to do. We used to with sellotape or blue tack. We used to stick coins on the stylus.
I don't know.
That probably destroyed the records, but they did play to the end. Yeah,
that's the problem. Did you have any times when it was jumping, like it wouldn't, like while you're live out on air?
They didn't tend to sort of jump so much. I mean, I think in the days of the sort of watery pirate radio stations on ships off the coast, they used to.
How did they manage to do that? Because that's a question that a lot of people are answering. I don't know if you can answer it. They're on a boat in the sea and they're moving about. How do they stop the needle just flying across the record?
Well, again, they would use, several coins taped to the stylus. So it was really, really heavy. But for very, very stormy weather, they used to have tapes and cartridges they could put on, so that if it was really, literally doing that. But a lot of these ships had a lot of concrete in the hold. They'd have maybe 200 tons of concrete below decks to keep them a bit more stable than your average vessel. Yeah.
Did you? Did you use tapes and cartridges as well? Because they were quite a big thing, weren't they, back?
Oh, very much so. Yeah. Cartridges were great as well, because mostly you just use them for your jingles and your little adverts and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's how I remember them. Yeah.
Whack them in, whack, and press the button, and they'd automatically the one would finish, one would stop, and everything, and it made life so much easier.
Yeah.
So the 30-second things all stitched together made it very, very much easier.
Okay, moving on as like time went by and technology changed. Do you feel you could do more now than what you could do?
I feel
like
I feel like an artist where they took away my easel and my brushes and my paints and things now, because you just push a button, and it was much more fun to open up the album, take out the album, stick it on the thing, have the artwork and all that kind of stuff, and it was more of an experience. in a sense. I mean, it's kind of pure music now, which is great, and I'm able to play that and everything. And also, a lot of radio stations, I don't know about yours, but a lot of radio stations have cameras in the studio, so you can't be.
Yeah, well, that's a big. I think, to be honest, that's the future way, because media is expanding, and I think to progress with it, radio is taking that step of mixing their live broadcast on air with their social media. So I've seen shows on Cam FM. We probably both know him, Ian Gray, with his Elvis show. He does that on Facebook. So he's not only getting listeners on air, he's getting it on Facebook as well. And that's the way it's going, I think. And certainly the station that both me and Terry work on, you get to see the presenter that's presenting the show. So if you're out in the car, you can listen to it. But if you're on your phone, you can just watch what the presenter's doing as well. I think that definitely is the future.
I remember there was a time when pictures first started, and that was on another radio station, and we were doing an outside broadcast from somewhere, and I was the guy sitting in the studio, basically just kind of holding the controls open and doing this kind of thing. And I forgot the cameras there, so I'm scratching my head, picking my nose, making funny faces, and suddenly somebody sort of messaged in to say, "Dave, you do know that you're live?" And I'm thinking, "Oh my goodness."
When I was working on a station with you, that I reckon I was the first person to have a glove puppet on radio.
Yeah, that is really something. That is really something. I mean, next thing we'll have ventriloquists on the radio and all that, won't we?
I think I found out that did go back before me years and years ago. People did use the same sort of thing, but it was, I don't even know how that came about. I think I brought, so people know, I brought a glove puppet of a fox for my daughter, and she didn't want it. So I brought it into the studio, and I was messing around, and before I know it, it became a bit of a thing, didn't it?
It's a great idea. It was a very, very, very novel idea for radio. And you have to you take one little idea and make it your own, and then people go with it, don't they? People roll with it.
Yeah, but old Freddie's gone into retirement now.
Oh, you should give him his own Facebook page, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to prod him to come back for a special appearance.
Definitely.
But looking at Cam FM now to how it was, is the show's changed in what basically, how you feel? Did it more in depth, more of a thingy? Was there a set show, like morning show, lunchtime show, evening show?
It's got a lot more traction now. Now it's not just the old university. We've got Anglia Ruskin as well, so that's potentially twice as many people can kind of come on board and do shows. Launching on FM as well made it much more visible.
But when do you know when it changed over to FM?
I was very privileged, and that's when I got involved again after a long absence, because they invited me in to sit there during the switch on show when it was switched on. So and that was an extraordinary experience, because there were still people with soldering irons and that kind of thing, and fixing wires and things. And this show is just starting, and the clock's ticking, and we're thinking, will we make it? Will we make it? And so that was really exciting, kind of like radio, And then at the end of that first hour or two, I was just a guest on that show. They said, "Would you like to come back and do a regular gig?" And I said, "Heck yeah!"
Yeah, and you do a rock show.
I'm honoured, and I now do a rock show, yeah.
And how's that? Because university radio, just for university, and to me, it's actually come quite big in community Cambridge. When I talk to people about local radio, strangely, you got BBC Radio Cambridgeshire, because BBC is a big organisation, and it's always going to be recognised because they've been a big organisation. But when people talk to me about local radio, Cam FM seems to come up more than any other station. Like, do you listen to a radio? I've had spoke to people like, what local station do you listen to? Well, apart from BBC Cambridge, I listen to Cam FM, and it seems to be big. Was you aware of that?
I wasn't, and that's fabulous news. I do know sometimes when I'm going around the town on my push bike, because that's how I travel around.
I've seen you about a few times.
Oh yeah. And I can hear Cam FM out in cars, and that's always a nice thing, which obviously FM gives you. But it's delightful to know that people like what we do. One of the things about being a uni station is that every 2 or 3 years, all the personnel change there, apart from me. I'm that guy. I don't know if you saw that film, The Boat That Rocks.
Oh yeah.
So I'm the guy in the middle of the night, the one that nobody knew, so I just sort of pop in and out and do my show like that. But apart from that, all our younger members, obviously, that they do their studies, they finish, and they sort of move on. And so that keeps it fresh all the time. It's always lively. There's always somebody starting their show.
Definitely. But no, it's good. Like it's really coming a voice for Cambridge. Do you feel do you think there's opportunities to grow it for more community-based stuff?
Hopefully, yes. I mean, last week, for the first time ever, we did the town bumps, which was a very nice thing to do. For many years, Cam FM made its mark doing the university bumps, but it seemed like a good time to expand into that, because the commentary team who do that, I mean, I couldn't go anywhere near it. I could sit in the studio and play a few records in between everything, but the people who do that commentary are just razor sharp, and they're so good at what they do. And that's a very difficult kind of thing to commentate on, really, because you can't like hop in a rowing boat and go alongside them. You're running up and down the bank.
Yeah, I can imagine. It keeps you fit as well, I suppose. No wonder I don't get out of breath.
I would.
No. I'll pop you down for a little while, and I'm going to pop Terry. I was going to get Stephen Harper, Scott back up as well, but he's back. But I'll stay with us. I'll have you back in a little while. Okay. So hang in there. So I'm going to bring Stephen back up first, when he pops up. Hello. Was you listening in there, Stephen?
Hello?
Hello? Was you listening in there? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello? Oh, don't think you can hear me. I'll bring live broadcasting. Not sure what happened there. Hello, Terry.
Hello, once again, Fons. How are we doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Like, of course, David was talking about local radio. And are you surprised that the university radio, which was basically based around the university, is expanding into Cambridge?
Not at all, because I tell you what, I listen, as we were discussing, I travel all over, and I have this scan feature on my radio, and oh my goodness, I mean, I listen to some of the radio and I think, why is that on air, and who's listening, and why? And if it's good, people will listen to it. It's like music. Whether you like sort of rock, whether you like jazz, whether you like folk music, whether you like country music, whether you like 80s music, whatever you like, if it's done well and presented well, people will listen. It's like TV shows. There's some some garbage on TV, and there's some awful channels which I wouldn't even watch. And I wonder who they do the programs for. At the end of the day, I think the listeners are the king. I think, and if
I find that a successful formula for broadcasting. Basically, you've got a passion, like David likes rock, you like the old Motown stuff, and you
I like the 80s as well,
and here talking about history, you're sharing your passion, and it's not about you as an individual, it's about sharing what you enjoy, and I think that's what makes it more of a success. If you make it about this is me and me, it doesn't work, does it?
No, it's interesting. I had the great pleasure of interviewing Paul Gambaccini about 6-8 months ago. It was back in early part of the year. And I thought I'd ask him the question, young up-and-coming radio presenter, what advice would you offer him? And he actually turned around to me and said, just be different. And I thought that was quite good, because if you listen to the radio, there's clones of Fred, clones of Charlie.
That's right.
And it's just
that's what I've always thought. You've got to be yourself as well. Like me, this isn't a character that I play. This is me. People in Cambridge, David would definitely tell you, and Stephen, I really walk around with a top hat with 50% sticking out of it. This is me, and this is what I do. And I think when you be yourself more, that it shows more, and you come a part of that, don't they? People come a part of that.
Yeah, they embrace it with you. I had a gentleman who has recently left hospital radio, and he joined me at another station I work, not the one that me and you work at. And he asked me, he says, "Hey, Tel, you've been doing radio a number of years." I said, "Well, not that many actually." I said, "But I've done a lot of shows." He said, "Well, what advice can you offer me?" I said, "Well, best thing I can say to you is relax and enjoy it, because if you relax and enjoy it, so will your listeners." And he's absolutely fabulous now. He's gone from sort of being a hospital radio presenter. And that's not decrying hospital radio, because hospital radio has been a great training ground and it's a great comfort to people when they're in hospital.
I've done hospital radio in the past. I think it is. Yeah, I think that's how it wasn't my first radio stint. No. I did it afterwards, but actually I learnt a lot because I could be. That's when I came more me. Radio I'd done before, it was like how they wanted me to be on hospital radio. I found myself, and now that's how I'm being me. And because basically people were commenting saying this is good, but this is just me being me. And I felt you can relax more, can't you, as well? Yeah,
and the other thing I enjoy is all the stations I've worked on, no playlist. I hate this playlist business. If you listen to the BBC, if you listen to certain shows at certain times of day, they play the same record.
Yeah.
Now, well, if you want to do that, you can.
Well, I've walked out of a station before in the first couple of days because I was given these songs and there was no life in me. And you got all these things that you got to say, like a script. And I thought, I've sold myself out here. And I'm not going to do that. So I quit, famously quit from, like, people said I was crazy, but I famously quit from it 2 days in.
Yeah, well, I did that a few years ago. I had this guy.
David sticking his thumb up.
I had this guy try and tell me how to do radio. He'd been around about a dozen radio stations because he got the sack from each one of them, and since then it's been about 5 years. I think he's been to 4 different radio stations. He goes in and tries to be the big man and tell everybody how to do this, but all he wanted was clones of himself. Well. Yeah, if that's the case, you might as well be on for 24 hours a day then, mate, because there's no point in having me on.
I think sadly I found that in radio, and I think that's probably what's making, going back to David, Cam FM a success, because they're going in there, learning an experience, being at university, and like sharing what they're learning, really.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing. I mean, I was recently approached by a young lady, and she works on the station where we both work together, or well, we don't actually work together, but we're on the same station at the same day. And she approached me. She said she'd like to do radio, and she'd never done it before. So I put her in touch with our boss, and she's absolutely brilliant on there. She's, I think she's only done about 12 shows, but she's absolutely stunning. I think you know who I'm talking about.
I think if it is, I've listened in, some really good.
Yeah, and she's got a market that none of us do. You do your vinyl, which I love vinyl, and vinyl is back, isn't it? Big time.
Definitely.
In the 80s, I used to do mobile DJing with records. In fact, I've still got a load of them, and they're suitably scratched because they've been used, umpteen times, and in and out.
But that's what I'm finding. Some of the show, I'm digging some of them out that I haven't played in years, and they sound awful. They sound awful when I've just been sitting.
It's like some of those. If you listen to the Northern Soul tracks that I play a Motown and Northern Soul show together. Because they marry together. It's British Motown, and some of them I've got there. You can hear at the beginning, the needle going, and then at the end, if I don't cut it off quick enough, it goes, But I think that's part of the soul of it. CDs and MP3s are great, but they're pretty soulless. I mean, they're not collectible. And years ago, we used to go to do a certain record shop on a Friday with your pocket money in your pocket. Go off and buy, I don't know, so and so's new release. Used to go rush into Woolworths. I can say that because no Woolworths is no longer around. Go and put your sweaty pound on.
Cambridge people will tell you about Woolworths. Everybody in Cambridge misses Woolworths.
Everybody in the country misses Woolworths, I think. And you used to go there with your pound or how much it was then. I'm going back a few years, so about, I think it was £2. I think our first album I brought, and then you used to come out of the record shop, and then I used to go home. I was living with my parents then. Put it on the turntable, and the groove was about 2 inches deeper by the time I'd finished with it that day. Now records are released into the ether, and it's just so and so's got a record, and I can't remember what they call it now. They don't call it releasing it. It's something else they call it nowadays, and it's just impact date. Impact date is the thing. That's what they call it, and it comes out, and it's just, I don't know. I must be a grumpy old man or something, but I just think.
I totally get what you mean.
It used to be an event. Like David Bowie's album that came out a couple of years ago. It was sort of trickled out, didn't it? I happened to get a copy the day I was listening to it on the Sunday, and then on the Monday he died. That's no reflection on me playing the record, I don't think. But anyway, because other people.
I love the argument. I love the argument about David Bowie or Bowie. What do you say?
I don't know. Depends on what mood I'm in. David Bowie, I think it is. I used to watch him on when he was on with Mark Boland on Mark. Yeah, show.
It's sad what happened on the very last one. Mark fell off the stage, didn't he?
He did, didn't he? Yeah.
Shortly afterwards in the car crash.
Yeah, killed by Grace Jones, who went on, who was a big Northern soul singer. Is that
she sang the Tainted Love, the original version.
Yeah. And I'm at the moment I'm doing the top 60 Northern soul songs on the show. He
ever spoke to his son Roland?
No, I haven't. I've spoken to the guy who does T-Rextasy, and he met David Bowie out in Japan. His name's Daniels. He does this show called T-Rextasy, which is like T-Rex, and he looks like him. He's got the same vocal ranges, the same height as him. He's uncanny. And he met him on the bullet train in Japan, and he asked him. He sat down for about 10 minutes when he asked him. He said, "Do you still remember? Do you still think about Mark Boland?" He said, "Every day." Yeah. And they were great buddies. It's a great story, isn't it? Great, sad.
Yeah, I'm going to put you down for a minute because I'm going to try Stephen again, but we'll bring you back up in a little while. Let's try Stephen again and see if he can hear me this time. He's popping back up. Hello, Stephen. Hello.
Oh, Florence, how are you?
All right, can you hear me now? Can you hear me all right? Hello? Can you hear me? I don't think he can hear me. But we do have a message from Teresa. Teresa Butcher saying hello. Hello, thanks for joining us. I'll bring David and Terry back up. The joys of live broadcasting.
Oh yeah.
It never works right when you want it to, but that's what makes it fun. Hey guys.
Well, the live broadcasting is fabulous, but the other great thing I do is I do live presenting on stage, and that can be even more dry mouth. I've got a big show coming up in middle of August up in Norfolk, and it's live on stage all day from about I think 10 o'clock till about 6, and anything that's going to go wrong is going to go wrong that day. And I love it though. It keeps me on my toes. I've been doing this particular show. I've been doing for about 3 years, and I'll be doing a few more. So if anybody's looking for people to do shows, I'll hold my hand up now.
Give you a shout.
Might as well get the plug in now. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's the live thing it keeps you on your toes big time.
Yeah, David, is your show's live on the?
Yes, it is live, and what that means is as well is that you can interact with the audience. We've got regulars who message in every week and this kind of thing. We can play requests. We can say hello to people. We can mention stuff that's going on in the world. Yeah. In Cambridge in particular, we can talk about gigs that are happening and all that kind of thing, and that makes such a difference.
Oh, definitely. Is yours broadcast through camera as well? Can they see you on the?
Yes. Unfortunately, everybody tells me I've got the face for radio.
Me too. That one's been said about me more than once.
Okay, I brought Stephen back up. Can you hear us, Stephen?
Yes, I can now.
Oh, brilliant stuff.
Hi, Stephen.
We thought we lost you for a minute.
Yeah, you certainly did.
Okay, we're talking about local radio. I'll take you two guys down for a minute. We're talking about local radio, and what can you say about Cambridge? What stations do you listen to in Cambridge?
I basically only listen to Radio Cambridgeshire, and I help Steve Lyons' programme, which is 50s, 60s and 70s music. I'm a big fan of his. In fact, I look after his Facebook page for him.
Oh, right. So, was it like just plays classic tracks? Yeah.
Not necessarily just classic tracks, more unusual ones as well.
Yeah.
And
what do you feel about Cambridge radio? How has it changed? Like you're talking about BBC Cambridgeshire, has it changed through the years of you listening to it?
It certainly has. Sadly, a lot of the characters been pushed off.
Yeah.
It's,
More.
it's,
Do you feel it's not so Cambridgey anymore? It used to be everything like breakfast show, morning show. Do you feel that's gone? It's more bigger platform
so
now.
it's how could it this way? They, as you say, it's come from high. It's become more national than local, but fortunately, it's starting to go back the old way.
So you feel they're bringing more of the local back into it.
Yes.
So if they're watching in what would you say to them? Make it more local. Somebody from
less cloned and more characters.
Yeah, I totally get it. So you like Steve Lyon's show from the past? What shows that are no longer there did you enjoy?
Paul Staten's Big Conversation.
Yeah, I think I appeared on his show a few times. I think on one occasion his producer told him that I was actually good friends with David Bowie. We were talking about David Bowie, and when he come on, he goes, like meeting him, I've never met him face to face. So that went out live. So I don't know where they got that from.
That's probably Ben Stevenson that said that.
Brilliant. So you were talking about your projects a little bit earlier on about Cambridgeshire Day. So what can people do if they're interested? What is it? Give us a little recap of what it is. People probably
Cambridgeshire Day is a celebration of what makes Cambridgeshire special, and at the moment we're trying to get powers in B to come up with, agree to it, and then we've got to try to work out the best day for it.
Yeah.
So that we can celebrate.
From a personal view, what are you looking to have on this day? If they say they get the phone call tomorrow saying, Stephen, we're going to do this Cambridgeshire Day. What would you like to be on this day?
One thing I would certainly do is fly the Cambridgeshire flag, because Cambridge has got its own flag.
Yeah.
It's to promote the county, make people could go out and celebrate. You could have special parties and things of that nature.
So what you're looking at is people to basically a bit like Queen's Jubilee or something, like celebration in Cambridge in different areas, street parties, people just joining together and enjoying Cambridgeshire. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, so celebrating what Cambridgeshire is.
Yeah.
You see, Cambridgeshire is such a diverse county. We've got so much great things in it, and amongst things that I'm involved in is Burwell. We've got a wonderful museum.
Yeah.
And next Sunday, I've got an open garden event at mine in aid of the museum, and I've got nearly 150 roses in my garden. It's only a small garden.
So that's something, like you were saying, this day, if they let your idea go ahead, that's something people could do. Probably open up their garden like you are, so people can visit it and probably use the funding for something. You know, I mean, to me, that's a brilliant idea. Using the funding back to something in the community.
Yeah.
Is that something that you would like to see?
Yes, there are many things out there in the county that some hidden gems that people don't know about.
Yeah.
People think of Cambridgeshire and they think of Cambridge, Ely, but there's other wonderful places. Some more off the beaten track. Lots of people go around Anglesey Abbey. But how many people have been to Landwade?
Yeah.
Do that people know where Landwade is? They've got a lovely hall there.
So
basically
it's making people aware, more aware of these areas. Would you want events to take place as well during this?
Yes, if communities want to put an event on, they're more than happy to raise money for a good cause or charity, of course.
Yeah. So that's the idea of it. So if the people are interested, how can they help make this happen?
there's one thing we need to put pressure on the powers to be in the county to go at people like the mayor is a good one. You've got the county council, the chairman of the county council or what? Chief executive of it, and things like this nature, and also the media.
Yeah. So
get on the back of the media, and they will then.
Yeah,
sorry,
have you contacted the media yourself, and have they shown an interest?
There's BBC Radio, Cambridgeshire, and Dotty McLeod certainly are, because I sent an email to Dotty, and the next thing in the morning I was interviewed on there, and they've had one or two other people interviewed on there. They were thinking of a Cambridge anthem and things of this nature, Cambridge food.
So there's definitely possibilities for it. So if anybody wants to get involved, that's what they do. Can they contact you direct as well?
Yeah, they can contact me direct. I'll give you an email address.
Yeah.
So they can contact me.
If you let us know your email address.
A Cambridge lad.
It's all one word, yeah?
Yeah, at gmail.com.
So that's acambridgelad@gmail.com. Okay, brilliant. I'll bring David, because we're in the last 10 minutes of the show, and I'll bring Terry back. We're all popping back up at once. Here we go. We're all here. The gang's all here. What was that off of? The Archies, wasn't it?
I think it was, yeah.
Brilliant. So what do you guys think of Stephen's Cambridgeshire Day?
I think it's a great idea. A lot of the counties are doing it. I know Norfolk's got Cambridge. They've got Norfolk Day next Friday, week Friday. I think it's 27th. And they all seem to be doing it. I think it's a time to celebrate. I mean, Cambridge has a lot to offer. I only ever visit it. I don't actually live in Cambridge. And every area has its great things to offer. Even the sort of should we say, the worst places in the country. And I'm not saying Cambridge is one of the worst places in the country. No, I'm not saying. No, I wasn't saying that. But there's some. I mean, like there's some sort of places that are not great. But I mean, I go up to Yorkshire a lot, and there's some places up there that need, should we say, a little bit of investment. We'll say no more than that. And they have their days, and they celebrate the good things rather than the negative. We all hear, the shops are shutting, this is doing this, and they're doing this, and this is doing this, and this is, this is not good in this town, and things like this, or this area. But there are so many other good things. There are so many nice places to go. I had a spell when I worked for Hearts Tourism, and I'd lived in Hertfordshire for 30 years. And there was places I didn't even know existed.
That's what happens. Unfortunately, you miss places. I think David can verify, and Stephen. You can walk around Cambridge, and you walk looking in front of you, don't you, or looking down. But I recommend anybody, probably in any town, probably where you live as well, Terry, take a walk out and look up, and you'll see things that you've never seen before. What, was that there? I don't remember that there.
Yeah.
Have you done that, David? Have you done that, Stephen?
Every time I go...
One at a time, David first.
Every time I go just into the centre of Cambridge, I see something new. I mean, like last time I was in there a week or two ago, they put up a memorial now to football, the rules of which started in Cambridge 170 years ago, is it? And quite extraordinary to read about that. You, Stephen?
Yeah, it's certainly true.
I bet you find that in your photographs. When you're taking photographs, I can imagine you find something new every time you take a photograph.
It's a classic example. It was a few months back. I was wandering down Burley Street, and I had to look up to one of the shop first floor windows, and there was some mannequins in there of the Rolling Stones. And I
that's the record shop down there, isn't there? Yeah, they got a big Dalek up there. I don't know if you two guys remember the Dalek that used to be in Forbidden Planet in the entrance years ago. So that brings back one of my memories. But Cambridgeshire Day, David, what do you think of that idea?
Excellent idea. We've got such a county that is so, as somebody said earlier, it's not just Ely, it's not just Cambridge, it's a magnificently rich place. And I think that everybody who lives in here deserves to know about everything that Cambridgeshire has to offer.
Yeah. Could you imagine it's something that Cam FM would be involved with Stephen?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's not my place to comment as just the late night rock show guy. But
No. I mean, I know. I put you on the spot there. You're like, no, but I mean, I know you can't speak for them, but do you know what I mean? Would it be something that they would help, like, promote in like shows like this Cambridgeshire Day? We think is a good idea.
I see no reason why not. But obviously, as I say, I'm not the person to ask. I could certainly give it a little plug in my rock show, but that's just.
Oh, there you go, Stephen. There you go. I've got you a plug already. So contact David after the show. He can give you a bit of a plug in his rock show. Okay. If you could, talking to all of you, I'll start with David, then go to Terry, then Stephen. Well, probably not so much Stephen because he's already mentioned this. If you could have a day celebrating Cambridge with you, Terry, your local area, what would you like to see on that day?
Well, at Cambridge.
Well, I must ask David first, then I'll come to you. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, we've got, haven't we, 800 years of history? 800 years ago, 800 and a bit years ago, or in Roman times, anyway.
Oh, it's just like yesterday. I remember it well.
Somebody was telling me that Cambridge, before the uni came along and all that kind of thing, Cambridge was like the motorway service station for the Romans with the burgers and all that kind of thing at the side of the road where they'd stop off and da da da.
Cambridge is grown. Cambridge has grown and grown and grown. A lot of many people don't realise that the boundaries have just got bigger over the years, haven't they?
Yeah, coming in on the train, because I don't drive, so I either go by bicycle or by train, and
same as me.
Extra railway station, and then you see all the building that they've done going out there, and it's amazing. I mean, I came back to Cambridge in 2003, so I've been back 15 years now after living here in the 70s, and hasn't it grown? It just continues to grow and grow and grow, and that's got to be good. That's got to be.
Well,
good.
you've seen the redevelopment. Like, you must have gone away, come back. Like, where's the kite area gone? Where's Petty Curie gone?
Yeah, the kite was very much up and running when I was here in the late 70s. It was a very vibrant place, and a few of my friends were kind of actually squatting there to try and stop them knocking it down. I remember, and today that would never be allowed.
No, it's a shame. And all the characters completely gone now, isn't it? Really, on those areas. Yeah. Over to you, Terry. Not so much Cambridge. If you could have a celebration day for where you live, what would you like to see?
Well, it's always nice to celebrate, I say, the positives, the great things. I happen to live in a little village in Bedfordshire, and it was lovely. A few years ago, we had this thing when they had Village of the Year in Bedfordshire, and we won it. The village I live in won it 3 times. And it was what the positives, all the things that we can offer, like the Mothers Union, all the other bits and bobs. It's only a small village. It's about 1,500 houses, so it is very, very small. But Cambridge, I mean, I drive around Cambridge and that a lot. I mean, you've got the new.
Drive around? How do you manage to drive around Cambridge?
Well, I go around the outside, a little bit. And I mean, there's places like Camborne, which they built as a separate entity, which is part of Cambridge. Right, yeah. And I think, look at that. And
that's grown over the years.
It's a great plus to, I mean, you've got the history of Cambridge, the 850 years, as David said, but you've also got the future of Cambridge as well. And you've got the industrial, the big industrial park up the top of Cambridge. Yeah.
It's the same as, I don't know if you're aware, same as Bar Hill. Bar Hill was a new development in the 60s. And look at that now.
Yeah, now it's just a great place to get your car stuck if you're driving into Bar Hill. I've stuck on that bit of road many times. I used to gig in Cambridge in the 80s, and it was a love. I used to go into the town and sort of round Cherry Hinton and round the town centre, and I used to gig in some of the pubs and clubs around Cambridge. That was a long while ago. It's another lifetime ago. It seems it anyhow.
Yeah, I know. I've just realised the time. I'm going to have a quick word with Stephen. I've got your email address here. I'm sticking it up on the screen. So this is acambridgelad@gmail.com. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
So if they want to contact you about this Cambridgeshire Day, that's how they can get hold of you.
You mentioned about Bar Hill. I didn't realise until today that Bar Hill was actually the residents moved in 1967.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, because Tesco's, how I remember it, because I have to remember a lot of information to do with history, and I have to put it into little categories. I know that Tesco's moved from Cambridge to Bar Hill, because it used to be where the council office is now. Opened there in 64, moved there in 83, I believe. So that's how I remember it through Bar Hill. and it was the Bar Hill development. But one of those little things that you remember through that. But anyway, we're running out of time. We'll say thanks to Terry for coming on.
No problem. Anytime, Fons.
Yeah, we'll have to preview you back on the future show. And thank you, David.
Thank you for having me, Fons.
And thank you, Stephen. I'll drop
you
you guys down.
Thank you for inviting me.
No, you're more than welcome. I'll drop you guys down. Okay, so that was a brilliant show. I do have a message here from Trevor that I've just noticed. I think I did put it up, saying hi from sunny France. So I wonder what it's like there. Hopefully it's warm now. I know it's hot sitting in this cupboard. I'm in a little tiny cupboard, the history cupboard, and I'm looking forward to taking my top hat off at the end of this. But if you want to keep up to date with past shows, you can find us on Facebook at the Cambridge Historian. That's on Facebook at the Cambridge Historian. Or you can follow me on Twitter at Real Fons. Yep, the Real Fons. Bit of a Freddie. David to tell you about Freddie. And Instagram. We're now on Instagram. You can find that at Cambridge Historian. And you can discover the history of Cambridge by going to my all-new website, which is at cambridgehistorian.co.uk. As all past shows are on there, so if you've missed this show or you've missed a previous show and you want to find out what they're all about, they're all on there. Just a click of a button. And if you would like to appear on the show and be a guest, you can by emailing me at fons.chamberlain@cambridgehistorian.co.uk. There you go. That's another show over, so thank you for joining me. I'll be back next week. Last 2 shows of this series, so coming up, I've got 2 more shows, so then we're in a summer break, and we'll be back in September, so do join us for those last 2 shows for this series. But until then, take care, people.